Hello, my friends, and welcome to your show, the MMA Ground and Pound Show. I'm your host, Enrique Solorzano, and I want to welcome you to the BarnBurner TV network on Zingo TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the BarnBurner and Zingo TV apps in the respective app store on iOS and Android devices. Remember that both apps are free, and while you download them, please make sure to rate and leave a comment. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast and Chromecast TV sticks, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku TV sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. So, well, my friends, this dry spell of MMA is coming to an end this weekend. But this show, I would like to talk about some news in the MMA world. So first of all, I would like to talk about Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. It's happening. Then I would like to talk about Diego Sanchez last fight. One of the veterans in the UFC is asking for his last fight, and he has been in the beginning of something amazing in the UFC that has been the Ultimate Fighter. So everything has to come to an end. So I would like to talk about the UFC in Latin America. I will tell you how it happened here in Mexico. I have a friend who worked on the UFC network, so I know some inside stuff, so to speak. So I'm going to talk about the UFC in Latin America. And then I would like to talk about the Conor McGregor's predictions. So yeah, Mystic Mac is back. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, so let's start with Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. So this fight, first of all, this fight is planned to take place in April, according to Dana White. And at the end of the last month in December in 2020, some journalists asked Dana White what was next for Stipe Miocic because we all want to see that fight against John Jones. But Ngannou, he has been on the sideline, and Dana White said that he was aiming to have Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2 around March or April. But today I saw a tweet that mentioned that fight was going to happen. So if you're not familiar with these two, they already met for the first time in UFC 220 in January 20, 2018 to be exact. And that fight, Stipe Miocic won that fight by unanimous decision, and he won the 5 rounds. He was a winner in the eyes of the judges for the 5 rounds, and it was pretty funny because for this fight, Stipe Miocic, the defending champ, he was the underdog, and everybody believed that Francis Ngannou was going to punch him right away, that he was going to knock him out. And that fight was kind of a bittersweet fight because we were seeing the Francis Ngannou that was knocking people out, right? He's famous for having crazy punching power, so we were used to watch him knocking out like big guys, right? And then against Stipe Miocic, he looked kind of slow, and he didn't know what to do. Like he didn't know how to face Miocic, and he was like very tired. Around the second round, he was very tired. So that fight, honestly, is not a fight that I am very excited to see. But well, it's a fight that is going to happen. Miocic got the W on that fight, and Miocic after that fight, Miocic defended the title several times against killers such as Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, and Daniel Cormier. So with Daniel Cormier, they fought, and and he lost one of those times, right? Uh, right now, Francis Ngannou is the number one contender, and after that fight, he has been knocking people out. Same thing. He has been facing big guys, uh, like such as Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, and Curtis Blades. And now he's on a 4-fight winning streak, and he has knocked out all of these guys in the first round. Not the second, nor the third, on the first round. And he has been very vocal about that he is getting frustrated by the lack of activity by the champ. Yeah, I think that the UFC, they didn't want to make this fight happen. They were expecting for any fighter to start like winning fights and then to earn that spot. But Francis Ngannou, fair and square, he's the number one contender. He just lost that fight, right? And after losing with Miocic, he has been knocking people out. So he deserves that fight. And like I said, maybe it's not the most exciting fight to make. But also the thing is that the heavyweight division, it's like it's stale. Like they need new talent, and we have seen former champs that they are vanishing. Like for example, Junior Dos Santos, he has lost his last fight, and he complained that it was stopped unfairly. But I think that it was stopped. That was the decision to make. So let's see how it goes. On this fight, I think Stipe, he's one of the best heavyweights ever, if not the best heavyweight. He has defended the title the most. And I don't know, for this fight, I think I'm going to go with Miocic. Ngannou, he has crazy punch power. I love how he carries himself. He's a very interesting athlete and a very humble fighter as well. So let's see how that goes. And let's see what happens on the heavyweight division because John Jones is waiting for sure. Okay, now let's talk about Diego Sanchez last fight. So, like I was saying, Diego Sanchez is one of the people's favorite fighters, right? Because he always likes to give a show. He's very aggressive. He likes to go forward all the time. And yeah, he's we have to face the fact that he's an UFC veteran. So he has been an MMA athlete for 19 years. 16 of them he has been with the UFC. And this week he tweeted that his next fight will be his last. So I think in December he talked about a little bit about this. And he said that he wants to go out with a bang. So he wanted to have a great fighter to fight to have his last fight, and he wanted to have Conor McGregor. But now, because he's not obviously having that fight, he's not getting that fight. He is leaving that in the hands of Dana White. So Sanchez, like I said, he has been in the game for a long time, and now he has 44 fights under his belt, and he has a record of 31 wins and 13 losses. He was on the first edition of the Ultimate Fighter. Like I said, he's a fans favorite. Why? Because he has won Fight of the Night several times, being the most important and one of my favorite ones, the war he had against Gilbert Melendez in UFC 166. So if you haven't seen that fight, you have to go watch it. And I think that fight he lost against Gilbert Melendez, but it is 3 rounds of going back and forth. They were like rocking, sucking robots, just going forward, throwing punches like crazy. And it's a fight you have to see. It's a very good fight. It's very interesting for sure. So for this fight, uh, he needs to retire because I don't know if you saw his last fight. What happened is that well, Diego Sanchez lost against this fighter named Jake Matthews at UFC 253 in September, and it was by unanimous decision. Honestly, I think that he didn't have any more to give. He looked a little bit slow. He wasn't the same aggressive Diego Sanchez. And the thing is that if you're going out like that, like Diego Sanchez does, you will get hit. You will get hit. So obviously that takes a toll on you. If you're getting involved in wars like that, you will you'll get a certain degree of damage. And I think the good thing is that Diego Sanchez he's aware of that because he said that he needs to rest and heal. And I'm pretty happy because I don't want him to get like badly hurt or to have certain kind of problem due to all the punishment he has gone through, right? So, uh, well, he lost his last fight, but another interesting topic is that he changed coaches, right? So now his coach, his name is Joshua Fabia, and he has been heavily criticized by fans and coaches alike. For example, like Matt Serra, and a lot of people don't like this guy because they say this guy is not training Diego properly, and they're accusing him of using Diego as a way to gain more popularity, right? So they are afraid that this guy he's not giving Diego the tools he needs to be a successful fighter, and that he just wants to make a name out of himself, but taking advantage of Diego Sanchez, which is a legend, right? He's a very well known fighter. So I don't know. And it's very interesting because there's this fact that this guy, Joshua, he had a fight with Matt Serra, and he approached Matt Serra while he was having breakfast with some of his friends, and he was looking like not for a fight, but to gain attention from Matt Serra, just so Matt Serra knew his name. So I think yeah, this guy is more interested on becoming famous, right, and making money than to be a successful coach. So let's see who fights Diego Sanchez. That fight will be a bittersweet fight to watch, but I will be very happy for him because yeah, I think it's time to hang off the gloves. Okay, so now let's talk about the UFC in Latin America. Okay, so what happened is, well, first of all, Latin America is pretty well known because of his fighters, mostly in boxing, and they call it the Mexican way when fighters they go forward fighting, right? And obviously, the UFC they wanted to come to Mexico several years ago, and what they did is that they signed a deal with Televisa to create the UFC network. So Televisa is a huge TV network here in Mexico, and now they have expanded in Latin America, in the States, and they wanted to create the UFC network, which is like an UFC Fight Pass for Latin America. And the deal they signed included the Ultimate Fighter Latin America to be broadcasted on Televisa network and the UFC event in Mexico City, which was the first of its kind, UFC 180. So I will have to tell you that on that time, I was here in Mexico City, and one of my good friends he was working there, and he knew that I'm such a UFC fan, and he told me, he was like, "Hey, I will go to the press conference. Do you want to go?" Sure. So I went there. I went with my mom, right? And we saw the press conference, and the main card looked incredible. Diego Sanchez was going to fight there. Cain Velasquez versus Fabricio Verdum. A lot of Mexican fighters over there. But at the end of the day, the fight was nothing like that one. So, for example, the main card had to withdraw due to an injury, and what we had it was that was Fabricio Verdum versus Mark Hunt. And it's pretty funny. A fun fact is that this network, Televisa, is well known due to their soap opera telenovelas, right? And they wanted for the main event on the preliminary fights that two soap opera actors they had to fight. And the UFC, they were like, you know what? No way. This is real, and we won't do that. So they had to like eliminate that thing. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But during the Ultimate Fighter Latin America, we saw very talented fighters that came from different parts of Latin America, such as Marlon Vera, Chito Vera from Ecuador. We saw the rise of Jair Rodriguez Pantera from Mexico, from Chihuahua. And it was a very, very entertaining show that showed a lot of talent that we have here in Latin America. So after that show, the UFC bet really hard in Latin America, and I think it's paying off. So now, like, they have great Latin American fighters in the top 10, such as Santiago Poncinibio from Argentina, who is fighting soon. We have Brandon Moreno as well, which gave us a fantastic fight, the last fight of 2020. Pantera is doing really well. He's one of the most popular fighters in the UFC. And Chito Vera, he fought this guy, Sean O'Malley, and Chito just fought the legend Jose Aldo. So yeah, like the UFC, he has bet really hard in Latin America, but it's really paying off. They have a lot of fans here in Latin America, and they have hosted more events, more UFC events in Mexico. But this event was going to be amazing. It was good, but the card that it was, like the press conference that I saw, oh man, if you could have seen it, it was going to be incredible. But it is what it is, right? Now let's wrap up this show with Conor McGregor's predictions. So yeah, my friends, Mystic Mac is back. And like, if I don't know if you know, but Conor McGregor will be back in January 23rd. He will be fighting Dustin Poirier at UFC 257. So why Mystic Mac? Well, Conor McGregor, he was famous for predicting his fights, and he called himself Mystic Mac. And he was very accurate on his predictions. And except one time that he failed badly was when he tried to predict his fight against Floyd Mayweather, because Conor obviously picked himself as the winner, and he didn't win that fight, as you may know. But during a UFC show named Countdown, he said that Dustin Poirier is a good fighter, but he's better, right? He said, I will knock Dustin out in 60 seconds. So I don't know about that prediction because let me tell you, they met in 2014 and Mystic Mac got the W on that one. But both fighters have changed a lot in 7 years. Like Conor became a double champ, right? Dustin faced killers such as Justin Gagey, as he faced Khabib. So yeah, like 7 years is a long time, especially in MMA world. So for me, 60 seconds, I see it. For me, it's highly unlikely. But let's not forget Conor McGregor's last performance. He fought Cowboy Cerrone, right? And a lot of people they thought that that fight was fake, that was that it was crooked, right? But I think Conor McGregor's performance was amazing on that fight. He had a game plan, he executed really well, and he got the W. And now, if you talk about Cowboy Cerrone, so Cerrone is tough as they come. So I don't know. I don't believe it was fixed. And the UFC, they don't like to do that. Especially Dana White, he has been very vocal about it. Because some people say that, hey, what do you think that some people are saying that the fight, that you're fixing fights in the UFC? And he said, no way. I don't want this to turn into boxing or WWE. So it was real. And let's see how this fight goes. Obviously, it's gonna be fireworks. Like these guys are at the top of their game, right? Dustin Poirier is an amazing fighter as well, and he has done everything he has to do to gain his spot. He deserves to be in the top five, top three, because he's one of the best fighters available. And this card is fireworks. So we're gonna go through it when the time comes, right? But 60 seconds. I don't know. Let me know what you think about Conor McGregor's beating Dustin Poirier in 60 seconds. But well, it's MMA. Everything can happen. I just watched the Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor fight, and he demolished Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. So everything can happen. Like I said, my friends, and let's see. I will go with my boy Conor McGregor, of course, but 60 seconds. I think he will get it done by the second round, maybe in the middle of the second round. But 60 seconds, I would love to see that. That will be like Conor. Everybody will be like Conor McGregor is back, right? So, well, my friends, that's what I think about Conor McGregor next fight. So, this was everything for today. Thanks again for watching. And remember, we have MMA back. We have UFC back this weekend. So remember to watch UFC on ABC, Holloway versus Qatar, this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Mexico City's time. And remember to tune in Mondays for results and analysis, and Wednesdays for predictions and analysis at 7 p.m. Follow BarnBurner Network at BarnBurnerNet. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And remember, there's a conversation. Let me know what you think at Enrique Drums MX. This show can also be heard on the BarnBurner Radio Network on its 122 platforms. Please check out barnburner.ca for all the news. BarnBurner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, leave it. I'll see you on the next one. Let's get it